What if one night, a child disappears without a trace, and the world is left to unravel the mystery? That's the chilling reality of the Madeleine McCann case. Picture it. The date was May 3, 2007. The location, a tranquil vacation spot in Praia da Luz, Portugal. Madeleine McCann, a bubbly 3-year-old, was there, enjoying what should have been a carefree family holiday. But as night fell, something unthinkable happened. Madeleine vanished. She was taken from her bed, leaving no trace behind. Her parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, were dining nearby, regularly checking on their children, only to return to find their worst fears realized. The eerie silence of the night was broken by the frantic cries of her parents. The world woke up to the haunting news of a little girl lost. The search for Madeleine began immediately, but the results were far from conclusive. The morning after the disappearance, the world woke up to the news, and the investigation officially began. As the sun rose, law enforcement from Portugal, Britain, and even Interpol swung into action. The initial response was a flurry of activity, with the seaside village of Praia da Luz becoming the epicenter of a major international investigation. The Portuguese police, known as the Polícia Judiciária, took the lead, scouring the surrounding area, interviewing locals, and examining the apartment where Madeleine was last seen. Every stone was turned, every lead followed, in the hopes of finding a clue to her whereabouts. Meanwhile, the British police, specifically Leicestershire Constabulary, liaised closely with their Portuguese counterparts, supporting and assisting where they could. Interpol, the world's largest international police organization, also joined the investigation, extending its reach to 192 member countries. As the investigation unfolded, various theories and suspects emerged. Some pointed towards a potential abduction by a stranger, while others suggested that Madeleine had wandered off by herself and met with an accident. The tidal wave of speculation even engulfed the McCanns themselves. Despite their pleas and evident distress, the grieving parents were not exempt from suspicion. The McCanns, both doctors and considered pillars of their community, found themselves under a harsh spotlight. The scrutiny was intense, the suspicion palpable, as authorities explored every avenue, including the unthinkable possibility of parental involvement. However, the tangible leads were few and far between. Despite the concerted efforts of multiple law enforcement agencies and the relentless media coverage, the investigation seemed to be hitting one dead end after another. The international effort, as vast as it was, appeared to be stuck in a quagmire of uncertainty and conjecture. Despite the international effort, the investigation seemed to be at a standstill. As the days turned into weeks and then months, the world watched and waited for a breakthrough that seemed increasingly elusive. The mystery of Madeleine McCann's disappearance continued to baffle and bewilder, leaving more questions than answers in its wake. As days turned into weeks, the case captured global attention, but not all of it was constructive. In the wake of Madeleine McCann's disappearance, the media circus that ensued was nothing short of overwhelming. Newspapers, television broadcasts, and online platforms buzzed with countless stories, theories, and speculations. This intense media scrutiny was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it ensured that Madeleine's face and the story of her disappearance reached the corners of the globe. In contrast, the media's insatiable appetite for news and updates led to the circulation of unverified information and wild theories. Social media in particular played a crucial role in this. The immediacy and reach of platforms like Facebook and Twitter allowed for rapid dissemination of information. But this also meant that speculation and unconfirmed reports spread like wildfire, muddying the waters of the investigation. The public reaction was equally mixed. There was an outpouring of sympathy and support for the McCann family, with people around the world sharing their story, hoping for Madeleine's safe return. However, as the story unfolded, the McCanns faced a wave of criticism. The decision to leave their children alone while they dined with friends became a focal point of public discourse. Some questioned their parenting, while others went as far as accusing them of involvement in their daughter's disappearance. This public scrutiny and speculation only served to intensify the already unbearable burden on the McCanns, transforming a personal tragedy into a public spectacle. At times, the media and public seemed more focused on assigning blame than on the actual search for Madeleine. Despite the media frenzy and the public's divided reaction, the McCanns remained steadfast in their mission to find their daughter and bring her home. The media frenzy added another layer of complexity to an already convoluted case. Years passed, but the case remained open and far from forgotten. As the days turned into months and months into years, the investigation into Madeleine McCann's disappearance remained a beacon of unyielding resolve. The tireless efforts of law enforcement were complemented by the relentless pursuit of private investigators who were brought into the fold to aid in the search. These individuals, experts in their field, left no stone unturned, delving into the depths of the unsolved mystery with a fresh set of eyes and a renewed sense of purpose. In a bid to reignite public interest and widen the scope of the search, an age-progressed image of Madeleine was released. This visual representation of a now older Madeleine served as a stark reminder that time was marching on, yet the quest for the truth remained as vital as ever. The image breathed new life into the investigation, sparking renewed discussions and theories about what could have happened to the young girl. Over the years, there have been numerous leads and suspects that have emerged. Some seemed promising, like puzzle pieces that could potentially fit into the jigsaw of Madeleine's disappearance. Yet each time, the pieces failed to create a complete picture, adding to the frustration and heartbreak of an investigation that seemed to be constantly on the cusp of a breakthrough. Suspects ranged from local residents to transient workers, each scrutinized under the microscope of an investigation that spanned continents. Yet, despite these leads, the truth of Madeleine's fate remains elusive. The spotlight of suspicion has shifted numerous times, illuminating different faces and scenarios, but always leaving more questions than answers. But even as the years roll on, the determination to uncover the truth remains undiminished. Every lead followed, every suspect questioned, brings us one step closer to understanding what happened to Madeleine McCann. The passage of time has not dulled the collective resolve to solve this heartbreaking mystery. Despite the passage of time, the hope for answers has not faded. Today, over a decade since her disappearance, the question remains, what happened to Madeleine McCann? As we speak, the case of Madeleine McCann continues to be a puzzle that investigators around the globe are tirelessly trying to solve. Despite being one of the most high-profile missing person cases in history, the whereabouts of Madeleine and the circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain shrouded in mystery. In recent years, there have been several developments that have kept the case in the public eye. Fresh leads have emerged, new suspects have been identified, and old evidence has been re-evaluated using the latest forensic techniques. Yet, each new development seems to raise more questions than it answers, and the case remains wide open. The continued interest in Madeleine's case is not just about the intrigue and mystery surrounding her disappearance. It's also about the hope that she may still be alive and the desire to bring closure to her family. This hope is what fuels the ongoing investigation and keeps the case alive in the public consciousness. Among the many unanswered questions, some stand out more than others. Who was responsible for Madeleine's disappearance? Was she abducted by a stranger or someone she knew? What was the motive behind her disappearance? And most importantly, where is Madeleine now? These are the questions that continue to haunt those involved in the case, and they are the questions that we, as a society, must continue to ask. We must keep the pressure on and keep the search alive, in the hope that one day we might find the answers. The case of Madeleine McCann is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the uncertainty of our world. It's a reminder that we must always be vigilant, always be aware, and always be ready to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. While the world may never know the truth, the search for Madeleine McCann continues. The Madeleine McCann case is a stark reminder of every parent's worst nightmare. A child's disappearance that ignited an international manhunt, a relentless investigation filled with twists and turns, and a media frenzy that shook the world. This story is a labyrinth of unanswered questions and unresolved leads. Despite the passage of years, the pursuit for truth has not waned. The investigation continues to this day, tirelessly seeking answers amidst a sea of theories and conjectures. The public's reaction, a reflection of their collective concern and empathy, has played a significant role in keeping the narrative alive and the search ongoing. As we stand in the present, the case remains as perplexing as it was on day one. The whereabouts of Madeleine McCann and the circumstances of her disappearance continue to evade closure. As the mystery persists, one thing remains certain: Madeleine McCann's story is far from over.